Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, if you may recall, during my previous episode, which was In Search of Dr. Seuss, I mentioned that Oh the Place You'll Go was the very last book that Ted Geisel wrote and published before he passed away on September 24th, 1991. But little do people know that after Seuss's death, there were several books from 1995 to 2019 that were posthumously published under his name. And one of my favorite Seuss books from that era would have to be Daisy Had Mayzie, which was originally published in 1995. For those who have not read it yet, it's a story about a young schoolgirl named Mayzie McGrew who suddenly sprouts a daisy from her hair. While this at first makes her a laughingstock by her classmates, it also makes her into an instant celebrity, and later, during her fame, Mayzie starts to miss her normal life. Fun fact, the book was originally not illustrated by Ted Geisel, but rather by an uncredited Joe Matthew. But in 2016, the book was republished with Geisel's original illustrations. However, I personally prefer the original 1995 book for childhood reasons. And of course, for today's episode, I would like to blog an animated TV special based on the book. So, released to television on February 5th, 1995, the special is Daisy Had Mayzie. Now, in this special, The Cat in the Hat tells the story of Mayzie McGrew, a 12-year-old warm-hearted schoolgirl. One day, during class, a bright white daisy suddenly sprouts from her head, which makes her ridiculed by her classmates and speculated by her teacher, principal, parents, and every other adult confirmed of Mayzie's problem. The situation reaches its high point when an agent named Finagle steps in and offers Mayzie a place in stardom, based from the daisy in her head. Mayzie immediately takes the offer, but later she finds out the hard way on how fame and fortune can bring unhappiness and loneliness. And after Mayzie realizes that the love of her family and her friends is what really matters, her daisy finally disappears. So, what are my personal thoughts on this special? Well, when I first saw this special on VHS, back when I was about 4, 5, or 6 years old, I loved it, but sadly, a while later, my VHS copy broke, and I haven't been able to watch it for years, until I rented this DVD from Netflix during my high school age. And nowadays, I consider it not only as part of my childhood, but I also consider it as an underrated classic, because I don't know if folks talk about it these days. But now, let's move on to Mustang notes. The special was directed by Tony Collingwood, founder of London's Collingwood and Company, who, during the 2010s, gave us The Cat in the Hat Knows a Lot About That. The animation for the special was produced by Hanna-Barbera and Phil Cartoons. During its television release, it was aired on TNT, and it was released to VHS on June 6, 1995, by Turner Home Entertainment. Plus, Dr. Seuss's widow, Audrey Geisel, who sadly passed away in December 2018, was the special's co-executive producer. Also to note, this special won 5 Cable Ace Awards, and it was the only Dr. Seuss TV special produced after Dr. Seuss's death in 1991, and it's also the last Dr. Seuss special to date. Now, what are my thoughts on the animation? Well, in my opinion, I think Hanna-Barbera's style of animation gives the special a lot of Seuss charm and flair, just like Chuck Jones and DePatie Freleng before them. Plus, one of my favorite moments is when a cop tries to protect Mayzie from a swarm of bees by using his hat. Also, this wouldn't be a Dr. Seuss animated special without whimsical songs, and there are a couple songs that I want to mention. For example, there's a title song where Mayzie's classmates mock her by crazily shouting out and calling her Daisy Head Mayzie. And later, the mayor gets a song, which in my opinion is a little political and strange, when he proclaims Maisie's Daisy situation illegal. And now let's move on to the characters and the voice actors who brought him to life. The main character, Mayzie McGrew, is voiced by Francesca Marie Smith, whom I remember as Helga Pataki from Hey Arnold. To me, I think Mayzie is a cute, sorta shy, and a relatable little girl. Plus, I think she's a hard worker while studying at school. Now, we Dr. Seuss readers can't really explain how her Daisy grew out of her head, but I kind of like the fact that said Daisy has a mind of its own. However, there are a couple moments where Mayzie gets lightheaded when her Daisy is dying, or when Mayzie gets pained when someone tries to yank her Daisy out of her hair. Also, while I kinda liked when Mayzie became an instant celebrity, at the same time, I liked when Mayzie realized, what is fame without family or friends to share it with? Also, I thought Maisie's giggle during the bee chase was really adorable. Next is our narrator, the Cat in the Hat, voiced by the late Henry Gibson, who voiced Wilbur in the 1973 Charlotte's Web film and voiced Dr. Applecheek in the 1993 Tom and Jerry movie, which is still a guilty pleasure of mine. Anyway, for those who don't know why the Cat in the Hat is in this story, well, it's because after his book was published in 1957, it became such a huge success that it not only put Dr. Seuss on the map, but the cat also became a mascot character. Plus, the cat received a sequel book, which sadly has not been made into a movie yet, and he also appeared in several other Seuss books, and he even got his own book franchise. Anyway, in this special, while the cat mostly narrates Maisie's story, he also serves as a minor supporting character where he helps Mayzie realize that the people back home love her. Plus, to this day, I'm surprised that the cat can fly using his umbrella, just like Mary Poppins can. And I thought it was really sweet when the cat took Mayzie back home to her family. Also, in my opinion, I think Henry Gibson's voice for the cat gives him a very calm and sweet tone. Plus, I think he's equally as good as Alan Sherman and Mason Adams. And I'm pretty curious as to who WAG will choose to voice him when the cat gets his own CGI animated film in the future. Maisie's teacher, Ms. Sneetcher, is voiced by Susan Silo, whom was in Golden Films' 1992 Beauty and the Beast film, 1997's Babes in Toyland, and 1990's Jetsons the Movie. In my eyes, Miss Sneetcher is a very sweet character, kind of like a second mother to Mayzie, and I like the part where she takes Mayzie to Principal Grum to get examined, and when she takes Mayzie to a quiet room to rest in. Our next character is Principal Gregory Grum, voiced by the late Louis Arquette. Now, I may be quoting the book, but Grum is a very wise man, just as smart as they come. In fact, he knows about long division and multiplication, as well as why oceans are so deep, why skies are so high, and why mountains are steep. Anyway, after Grum studies the daisy on Maisie's head, he orders Miss Sneetcher to take her to rest, while he calls Mr. and Mrs. McGrew, along with Dr. Eisenbart and Finch the florist. Finally, we have Finagle the agent, voiced by Tim Curry, best known from the Rocky Horror Picture Show and the Wild Thornberry series. Finagle is a manager who assumes Mayzie McGrew could be famous for having a daisy on her head. So he tells her in song how famous she could be, and of course Mayzie accepts the offer, even though her friends and her family didn't want her to leave them. In my opinion, Finagle is a very twisted and manipulative guy, but on the other hand, I still think Tim Curry does pull off a great performance. Other voice actors in the special include B.J. Ward, Paul Eating, Jonathan Winters, and George Hearn. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Daisy Head Mayzie is a very heartwarming animated special in the Dr. Seuss library. The animation by Hanna-Barbera is classical and zany. The story is very sweet. The main character Mayzie is relatable and adorable. The Cat in the Hat makes a great narrator and a pretty decent supporting character. And also, I think the voice acting is spectacular. Plus, I like the story's moral stating that love means more than fame and glory. I just hope that someday we can get a full-length animated version of this book made by either Illumination or WAG if we're lucky. But until that ever happens, this is a Dr. Seuss special that everybody, young or old, should watch. And so, I give Daisy Head Mayzie a full 100%. Now, before I go, I want to remind everybody that I'll be performing as General Genghis Khan Schmitz in Seussical at Musical Theater Village. And if you'd like to see the show, go to this link for ticket information. Also, the show is going to be running from August 27th to September 26th. And I'll be in 3 of these performances. Anyway, that's all for now, everybody. And I think I'm going to need a little break from blogging for a few weeks. But be sure to join me on my blog show's 8th anniversary on September 13th. Mustang Power. Oh, and remember, no matter what negative situation happens, just keep reminding yourself how lucky you are.